Good morning, Sanbonani. Welcome to another motivation kick with Sanele Enoch. Okay, today I want us to look at the psychology of an enemy. I mean, everyone is having an enemy. Most of us, we call an enemy the devil. So I want us to look at that to say, how does this particular enemy behaves? Okay, number one, I always say in order for one to be able to understand the situation, you need to understand the psychology of the situation. Ngihlezi ngithi mangabe ngikhuluma nabazali, uma ufuna uku-understanda umntwana or a teenager or an adolescent child or a matric child, you have to understand the psychology of this child. Then you will be able to be effective in assisting loyo muntu, because until you understand the psychology of a person, you won't be able to be of assistance. So hence that is why even today, until you understand the psychology of an enemy, you won't be able to defeat an enemy. Now here is how an enemy is working. Number one, an enemy that will do is to convince you. An enemy will convince you that you will never make it in life. An enemy will give you history and say there is no one in this family who has done what you are thinking of doing, so you must just forget. That's the first approach of an enemy. The enemy will convince you. But what is it that you need to do in a situation of being convinced by an enemy? You need to back an enemy with testimonies and say, no, I can do this because I've done 1, 2, and 3 before. I can do this because ngingandlula kule simo, because ngike ngandlula kusimo kwisimo esinje before. So that's the psychology of an enemy. And then number two, an enemy will try to bring doubt in you. So the enemy will confuse you as much as possible. You will go into roller coaster. You will keep on falling back. The enemy will just bring confusion in your life. Because that's how an enemy is working. An enemy, and then through doubt, an enemy ensures that you forget. What are your previous achievements? Because I always say we are using appreciative inquiry based on what we have. What is that we have achieved before in order for us to be able to get where we want to get? So what is it that you've achieved before? That's the enemy will try to make you to forget as much as possible. And then the next step of the enemy, after the approach of forgetting has taken place, an enemy will make sure that you keep quiet. It's silent you. Hence last time don't keep quiet. So what is important, you must understand that once the enemy is silencing you, then you are about to be overcome by the enemy. So sizokuthulisa isitha sithi thula wena angeke wenze lutho, thula wena sikukhumbuza ukuthi uhluleke kangakanani, sikuthulise as kwi family meeting. Uma ngabe uthi nawe ubekuva kuthiwe thula wena asikakakhulumi ngotshwala. So that's the approach the enemy ezoyisebenzisa. Ufuna ukukuthulisa enemy, uthule njengesehluleki uze ungabi nalo ngisho novo ngenxa because of your previous failures. So ungavumeli ukuthi isitha sikuthulise. Then the last point, then after usewuthulile, you will conform. Uzobe sewuvuma ngempela ukuthi hayi cha ngisihluleki, hayi cha ngihlulekile, angeke ngifinyelele ndawo. That's the last approach. And then mase sewuconformile ke hayi indaba yakhe ayisekho ke ngeke usakwazi ngisho nokuvuka phansi ngenxa yokuthi sewusivumelile isimo ukuthi hayi cha no ngiyahluleka, no I will never do this. Whatever I was trying to do, it's just not possible to happen. Then you do what we call surrendering. Then you surrender. In high English, they say it's to relinquish. Then you just relinquish, you just give away, and then from there you just living a life with no hope. Like then aksena hope, you just living akusena that thing ekuvusayo even nasekuseni. You are just living a hopeless life. So most of the people asebephelelwe yithemba, they are in that stage of conforming, sebevumile. So wena ungalingi uzuvume. Into yokuqala nje, don't be convinced by an enemy. Have a good day. Sanibonani. Happy Friday.